Fear. You know the feeling, right? It's that jolt in your chest during a horror movie, the sweaty palms right before a big speech, or just that gut instinct that tells you, hey, maybe don't stand so close to the edge. It's something every single one of us experiences. But what is it really? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify the psychology behind one of our most powerful emotions. And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. Is fear this helpful bodyguard, keeping you safe from real harm? Or can it become a prison, something that limits your life and holds you back from things you want to do? As you're about to see, the answer is, well, it's a bit of both. So, to figure this out, let's start at square one. What are we actually talking about when we use the word fear? Is it a friend or is it a foe? Okay, so here's how psychologists break it down. They see fear as a protective and totally primal emotion. But the real keywords here are perceived threat. See, fear isn't just about actual physical danger like a bear chasing you. It's your brain's alarm system for anything it thinks could hurt you. That could be the bear, sure, but it could also be the idea of getting up on stage and speaking in public. Now, this alarm system, it doesn't just ring quietly in your head. Oh no, it triggers this massive, powerful, and totally automatic reaction that takes over your entire body. Let's take a look at what's actually going on under the skin. You've probably heard of this, right? The fight or flight response. What's so fascinating about this is that it's this deeply, deeply ingrained survival mechanism. When your brain senses a threat, it doesn't pause to ask your opinion. It just slams a giant red emergency button that gets your body ready to either fight the danger head on or run away as fast as you can. And when that big red button gets pushed, you feel it. Your heart starts hammering in your chest to get more blood to your muscles. You might start sweating, feel a little shaky, or notice your breath getting shallow. These aren't signs that something's wrong with you. They're signs that your body's ancient survival kit is working perfectly. But here's the twist. While that physical reaction is pretty much universal, everybody's body does the same basic thing, our emotional experience of that feeling is totally different for everyone. It's completely personal. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. You've got two sides of the fear coin. The biochemical part, that fight or flight stuff, that's automatic, it's universal, but the emotional part, that's learned, it's subjective, it's 100% personalized. It's exactly why two people can get on the exact same roller coaster and one person is screaming with pure joy while the person next to them is screaming in pure terror. Which, brings up a really weird question. If fear is our response to a threat, why do some of us go out of our way to find it? Think about it. Adrenaline junkies, people who line up for haunted houses, anyone who curls up on the couch for a scary movie marathon, why do they enjoy being scared? Well, the secret is all in our brain chemistry. It turns out some of the very same chemicals that flood your system when you're scared are also involved in feelings of excitement and happiness. So for some people, when they know they're in a safe context, like they know the monster is just on the movie screen, their brain interprets that chemical rush not as terror, but as a thrill. It's actually fun. So that's fear working like it's supposed to. But what happens when that alarm system goes haywire? What happens when fear stops being a helpful reflex and starts, taking over your life? This is where we get into things like phobias. And a phobia isn't just being really scared of something. It's what happens when there's a fundamental twisting of that normal fear response. All that intense fear gets aimed at something, an object or a situation that poses little to no real danger at all. This chart shows it perfectly. With a phobia, look at the difference. The actual, objective danger is tiny, but the perceived fear, it's off the charts. It's why someone with a phobia of spiders can have a full-blown panic attack over a tiny, harmless little bug. The brain's alarm system is screaming, "Code red, mortal danger," even when logically, they know it's not true. And this can create a really nasty, vicious cycle. People can actually develop a fear of fear. They become so terrified of having another panic attack, of feeling those physical symptoms, that they start avoiding any situation that might trigger it. Their brain essentially creates a feedback loop where the fear of the alarm system is enough to set the alarm system off. But here's the good news, and it is really good news. Even when that fear feels totally overwhelming, it is possible to recalibrate that alarm system. So how do we do it? How do we reclaim control? Well, therapists have developed some really powerful techniques to do just that. One of the most effective methods is something called systematic desensitization. It's all about gradual exposure. So let's say you have a phobia of snakes. You don't start by jumping into a snake pit, obviously. You start small.
Maybe you just talk about snakes with your therapist. Then, when you're ready, you might look at pictures. Over time, you slowly, safely, and gradually close the distance to the real thing, all while learning new ways to cope with the feeling. Now, there's another, more intense technique called flooding. The core idea here is that a phobia is a learned behavior, right? And if it can be learned, well, it can be unlearned. In a totally safe and controlled setting, a person is exposed to their fear for a longer period of time until that intense panic response just runs out of steam. Eventually, the brain learns that the thing it was afraid of isn't actually causing any harm. Okay, and I really have to pause here and say something incredibly important. These are powerful psychological tools. Both of these therapies, systematic desensitization and flooding, should only ever be done under the direct supervision of a trained mental health professional. Seriously, this is absolutely not something to try on your own or with a friend. But there are absolutely things we can all do in our daily lives to help manage feelings of fear and anxiety. Things like leaning on people you trust for support, practicing mindfulness to just notice your thoughts without getting swept away by them, using simple, deep breathing exercises, and honestly, just taking care of yourself, eating well, moving your body, getting enough sleep. These are all powerful ways to keep your body's stress response in check. So, after all of that, what's the big takeaway? It's actually pretty simple, but it's also profound. Just understanding how your fear works, knowing the difference between that automatic physical reaction and your emotional response, that is the first and most powerful step you can take toward managing it. Which leaves us with one last question, and this one's for you to think about. Fear is always going to be a part of life. It's part of what keeps us safe, what keeps us alive. So now that you understand it a little better, how are you going to relate to it? What will you do with your fear?